I was on the road recently and something happened. Hi, this is Soap Your World. This is something that happened and it left me thinking. It's made me to really think deep. So it was that a bike man was carrying two people, I think it's motorcycle, right? Yeah, motorcycle, the one that drives and has one or two persons at times, three behind. So I think he was not to pass a route actually, but that decision was not already public. It wasn't everybody that was aware of it. So this particular bike man was carrying two people, an adult and a child, a teenager rather. So this law enforcement people started chasing him. So I can't really pinpoint what's actually happened, but what I could see was that the bike man fell with the two people he was carrying behind. So and immediately those government workers, the law enforcement people, they rushed to where the guy was, the bike man, who was already injured. He was injured because he was actually trying to, hold the bike from falling, which I think if he hadn't done that, the injury would have been more than what was incurred on them. So the injury they sustained rather. So, but immediately what kept me thinking was the fact that these government workers, they rushed there, they helped the passengers out, then left the bike man. They took the bike and left the bike man there. So I was kind of thinking, like, what could have been this man's offense? That, okay, let's even say he was even at fault. Does it have to get to the point that we now, neglect his own life? Because he was actually injured. His bone was twisted. As in, he had injuries sustained on his body, his leg especially. So he managed to still try to get up on his own. People were just watching. They only rescued the two passengers and they took the bike to a corner and they left him there. Immediately I came out, I was a kind of shock, like, what's this? So she managed eventually to get up and went to the other side of the road. So I think people were telling the law enforcement people that this man was not at fault. So I think so, but I didn't bother to go talking with them. I was the only one that went to where the bike man was to help him because he was bleeding on his leg. He begged me that, please, can I get water? He even tried to give me money. I told him not to worry. I went where I could get water. I got water for him. People were just looking at me and was like, thank you. But then it made me to think, like, how did we now put law before humanity? And eventually, when after the whole thing was, they talked about it, he was allowed to go with his bike. But then, okay, I think they discovered that he was not at fault because he wasn't aware of whatsoever law they were enforcing on that route. So, but then he has incurred injuries. He was neglected. And eventually they allowed him to go. But why should we put law before humanity? What if that guy was already gone while he was left right there? What if he needed emergency? But everybody just did like though it doesn't concern them. The people actually that were even the government officials left him there. They took only the passengers behind, aside, took the bike aside and left the bike man there. It made me to think, how did we get to this point that we now don't prioritize everybody's life? Every life matters, irrespective of our tribe, irrespective of our denomination, irrespective of whatsoever we think the person has done or anything. To me, I think humanity comes first before every law. If somebody had an accident, for instance, I think it should be the right thing to make sure the person is still, helped. Make sure the life is secured first before you now start talking about what offense did he commit or he didn't commit. But why should we pick law first before humanity? What if that guy eventually, traveled to the other side? Everything would have just been like that. And at the end of it all, he was found not guilty. But he has incurred injury. He has sustained injury. He has, a kind of been neglected. He was really hot. And he was still a kind of on the sober side. He was still trying to beg them that he did not do anything. He's not at fault and things like that. So at the end of it all, they allowed him to go. They gave him his bike. He left. He didn't pay anything. But then, how did we get to this point that we put law before humanity? Like how? 3 people had accidents, only 2 were rescued. The main person who was the driver was neglected. Human life comes first before any other offense. If somebody has offended you or you are not at good terms with somebody, I think even if something evil or something bad happens to that person, you keep your offenses aside, you keep your grievances aside and see how to help that person. Because once the life is sustained, you can go on to unleash your grievances. But what if the life is gone? Your grievances, you can't unleash it on anybody. Somebody you are not at peace with needs emergency, is at a critical state, but because you are not happy with the person, you just push it aside. If you want to let him die, it's not my business. How did we get to this point? Humanity first before any other thing. let's try to treat others the way we would want to be treated. If you are the one that's had injury, wouldn't you want somebody to rescue you at that critical point? Or is it because you are not the one, then it doesn't matter? The person shouldn't be rescued because it is not you. But once it is you, everybody should rally around you. But once it is not you, you yourself that would want people to rally around you, you wouldn't do the same thing to another person. That is outright wickedness. That is just what I can say. It is outright, dead conscience. If you're somebody that you don't put humanity first, I think it is right for you to rethink. You would want people to put your own life first before any other thing. Do the same to others. Put people's life first before any other thing. God bless you.